The top of the Empire State Building.
Z100, New York's #1 hit music station. I'm Josh Martinez with our guest, Dove Cameron. What's going on, girl?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah. There's like 2 people in the room.
So let's just jump into things. The song Too Much is out now.
Yeah.
What was the songwriting process like for that song in particular?
First of all, wow, your accent really like brings me warmth.
You're welcome.
Particular is like really gonna make my whole day.
It'll probably get worse the more comfortable I get with you.
I'm sad that you're not comfortable already.
Too shy.
We're 2 best friends. We know each other way better than this. Don't pretend.
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
We'll get to that later, I promise.
The writing process was fairly quick for this one. It was a song that I'd been meaning to write for a while, that I had in my concept list for a while. And we were well into the album process, like sort of 3/4 or near the end. I can't remember. And it was just like something I was like, guys, what do you think? Is there something in this? And you know, there's that famous phrase, if I'm too much, go find less. It's not something that I came up with. And we just wanted to sort of play with the wordplay, make it really campy, make it really fun. And it just kind of like wrote itself. It happened really quickly. It was also, I find that when things are real, true stories, it's so easy. Like I can see you're working really hard, out of breath, but you're still at the start. Honey, please. You're breaking your own heart, shooting for the stars, shooting in the dark. It's like very easy to be like, that's what happened, you know, and make it rhyme.
So you have a line that says, "You're so pretty when you're so quiet." Has someone dead ass said that to you?
Yeah, this is so funny because I really didn't expect this to take off like this. I just mentioned like an example of a time when I became aware that I was being perceived as too much, and people have really, you know, when you share something about your life that you think is like, oh yeah, that sucked, and everyone's like, oh, I was like, wow, I didn't realize that was like so bad.
Shout out to childhood trauma, dog.
Right? I'm like, I'm like telling a normal life story for me, and everyone's like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh, right, this is probably like not a thing to share casually.
But then you throw humor in it, and then they're even more like,
they're like, yeah. It's so true. It happens to me all the time. But this one was a romantic relationship that I was in for quite some time, and we were having a lovely night. Everybody was having so much fun, and everybody who was there had very big personalities because those are the people I surround myself with. Sure. Like all of my best friends are stars of their own show. I am not the one who is taking up all the space in the room and everybody is like, okay, yes, Dove. Like everybody is loud, is expressive, is smart and quippy and funny. Like we have an uproariously loud, fun time together.
Good word.
Uproariously. And that's what I enjoy. I don't want to be the big boss Bowser in the room. I want everyone to shine, right? And so we had one of those nights and everybody was laughing and it was a bunch of my friends. And we got in the car and I was like, wasn't that so lovely? Like, that was such a nice night. I love those people so much and they liked you. And he was like, yeah, you know, people really like you better when you talk less. And he like let that hang in the air. And I was like, and I was so jarred because whatever his interpretation of what had happened was so different than mine that it made me like paranoid. And that was just the beginning of what would end up being like a very long list of experiences that I had with this person that were like that, where it was like we would get in the car at the end of the day and he would give me notes on ways that I had behaved in public. And these were things that were not rare. They were constant. And you might ask yourself, like, how could you not have seen that and broken up with the person? I think when it starts slow and when you're young and when you're insecure, you don't register it as being a them thing. You register it as being a you thing, and then it chips away at your confidence over time until you're like scared to leave the person because you're like, oh wow, you're the only person who's ever going to love me because I'm awful. And I was really in that. And I carried that with me for a long time after that relationship, and certain things happened in other romantic relationships that kind of echoed that. And so I just had this belief, this steadfast belief that I was too much of everything, too sensitive, too loud, too everything, too nice. Like I was too everything, too self-expressed. And it took me up until doing some serious work on myself as an adult, and then like dating my current partner just to be like, oh, that was fully made up. That was fully a narrative that was being pushed onto me by someone who didn't like me. And was dating me somehow.
But isn't it a wild concept? Like when you care about someone so much that like every word they say matters to you, and then all of a sudden the negative stuff, you almost warp your mind to be like, no, but he's looking out for me.
Yes,
it's almost like a head
I was
coach
like,
yelling at a
yes, I
player.
was like, he's totally trying to get people to like me more. Like I don't know what it was. I also think that like I have this thing where if something, I'm growing out of it now, but like I became acutely aware of this thing where like if someone in a relationship does something wrong, I will excuse them for it because I love them so much, and I'll be like, I'll take the blame, even if I had nothing to do with it. Like within our dynamic, I'll be like, well, you just snapped at me. Like, I don't have this anymore, but when I was younger, it would be like, you just snapped at me because you were tired and I contributed to that by keeping you up late last night talking. You know, like I was warped. I was really warped. I had lost the plot. And I believed I was responsible for everything. And so as I got older and as I started dating my beautiful, amazing partner now, I just was able to be like, oh, this was never reality, and now I have perspective enough to write the song.
I love that. Now, you mentioned your partner a couple times already. What's the struggle of a public relationship, right? Because we see it on social media. We see the red carpet. We see he's cooking food for you. Everything is popping. Everything is great. But, like, there's got to be some negativity to the fact that we can all see it. Even though you're letting us see it. You're the one that's allowing us into that realm of social media. But what struggles have you had, if any, over the last year plus? If any. Over the last year plus of the relationship?
Yeah, so this is actually, I would say that the main problem is that it really looks like we do share a lot. And I think that that's actually the problem because we don't. And the thing is, when you're both working people and when you get invited to the same stuff or someone gets invited and they have a +1 and we live together and we're in the same city, and when one of us isn't working because we're working so often and we have a week off, of course we're going to fly to where the other person is. They're paparazzi. These events are public events. And so like when we want to spend time together and we want to work, we're going to be seen. And we've made peace with that. Like we're not at all trying to hide that. It's a normal for us. We've been working since we were so young. It's like, I don't know what to equate it to. It's like office dinner with the bosses. Like, of course you're going to bring your partner, you know,
Sure.
like, so our lives are public. And so our relationship is therefore a public one. But in reality, I think that the issue comes in when people think they know a lot about us and we actually share very little intimate details about our relationship, like basically nothing. We share like fluffy stuff on top, like, oh, he's cooking or this skincare or we trip or whatever. And I think that like kind of messes with the public perception because then people think they know about something that like is truly only ever intimately behind closed doors. And then they start to like draw conclusions or look into things when it's like there's absolutely nothing that we have given that people can grasp onto to read into. Sure. Like that's all ours, you know? And so sometimes I see a lot of, I don't really look, but like sometimes I see a lot of like love and support and sweetness because I think it's very clear that we're in a very happy, healthy relationship. But sometimes I see people like, I don't know, like the body language stuff or like the stuff that is like so confusing to me, how people ever like get to that place where they're like,
bro, get a job, get a hobby, do something instead of, and I'll say it for you, instead of like micromanaging these like little tiny nuances of a post to be like, his hand's on her hip, not on her waist, there's trouble in paradise.
It's I honestly don't see it very much, like, so I can't, but the stuff that I do see, sometimes I'm like, if only you knew how normal we are. Like if only you knew how we're just two normal dudes. You know, two normal dudes like eating dinner and watching movies. Like there's nothing to know, there's nothing to find out. That's the thing.
So we saw you last night. By the time we're doing this interview on Fallon.
Yeah.
How dope was that?
So dope.
You did this little wrist trick thing with the tape. I was like, I dead ass like pulled it back 10 seconds on YouTube, did the little double tap on the phone.
Really?
And I was like, how did she do that?
Oh, my genius choreographer Kyle. It was actually the easiest part. You just choo, hoo, ha. You know?
No.
Did you get that?
I don't actually.
It was hard. It was hard to workshop in the beginning, but then once the boys and I got into a rhythm, it was It was really fun. I love those boys. Those boys are so talented. I'm so lucky to work with like such incredible dancers.
No, that's dope. And it's interesting to me because you mentioned kind of being in the industry for a while a little earlier, and you said something that I saw yesterday on E! News, and I'm going to read it verbatim. It said, "I had this weird belief that my full voice, like belting, was not appropriate for pop music. Why?"
It's a good question. I think when I was coming up and I was on Disney Channel, I had a very different like timbre to my voice. Timbre?
Sound.
Sounds, yeah. Yeah, timbre. And when I would belt, it was so young sounding. And so I like internalized it as like nasally or too much for recording because I'd hear it back and I didn't like the sound of it. And I think I just sort of, I don't know. Again, maybe I felt like I was too much. Like genuinely, not even a plug for the song. I was always kind of trying to make myself more palatable. And then when I started singing live and I would start having people be like, the live sounds better than the studio because you're belting. I was like, you guys like that? And they were like, yeah, we want to hear your fucking voice. So I was like, oh, okay. And so I just started experimenting with that. And I'm happy to say that like most of the record is me truly, truly belting.
Love that. Before we wrap things up, I know it's not the best thing to give like a personal anecdote to the person that you're interviewing. But
No, I love it. I'm ready. This is what I live for.
So the last time we spoke, we
Yeah.
had a really good interview. And going into that interview, I was like really questioning my interview skills because this is fucking Z100. Biggest station on the planet. And I have like a certain strategy when I go into interviews. And I was like, you know what? This will be the last artist I do my strategy with. If things pop off, I'm going to keep running with my strategy. If not, I'm going to change things to the Z100 way. Similar to what you were saying before about being in your own head.
Yeah.
And you were so fucking cool during that interview. And then I made the mistake 2 months later of like, oh, I got to look at the comments. But it was nothing but love on the comments.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, Dove Cameron doesn't realize this, but she just changed the entire way that I do my interviews for the rest of my career.
Wait, that's
So
going to
thank
make
you
me
for that.
emotional.
Yeah.
That's so lovely.
To the point where when I was talking, I said the story while we were discussing baby names for my daughter, and Dove was a finalist for a name. Yeah, because
No
it was
way.
like, wow, the name Dove, that's a beautiful name. There's a positivity with Boppy. That's what I call myself to my daughter. Got to spick it up. I'll say it. Yeah, so it was, but Dove Martinez does not flow. That's
You
not
said there's
something-
no
it doesn't-
synergy.
It just doesn't flow. So
Oh my
pulled it back.
God.
It was considered for a middle name. We paid homage to my family instead. But you were in the last stages. Your name was up for it. So thank you for
That's
being
really
you.
so moving and so sweet.
Thank you for being dope. And the song is called Too Much. It's out now. We appreciate you, girl. Thank you for stopping by.
Oh, I'm never leaving. Thank you.
Dove Cameron, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
From the top of the Empire State Building.
Z100.